Mm-hmm.
And thank you for our attendees and our presenter tonight. This is the June 22nd, 2021 San Diego Google Developer Group. And I'm Kyle Murley, your moderator. You just heard from Svetlin, one of the co-organizers of GDG. And as was shared, we have a guest presenter this evening. In fact, one of my peers and an esteemed colleague and friend from Google and Google Cloud, Miss Sonali Singhal. I'll let Sonali introduce herself, and she is going to lead the presentation today. As mentioned, feel free to put your questions into chat, and I'll do my best as the moderator to find time to interject those questions. Sonali, please.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Sonali, and I'm a customer engineer working at Google Cloud with Kyle. So he's one of my peers, as he said. And my specialization is in app mod, and this is my first attempt for Kotlin. Like, I've been learning for this demo itself. So basically, like, my motive today was like, I don't have any presentation. I just have few demos which I will be running through. But before that, I just wanted to ask, like, Michael and Charles, are you familiar with Kotlin, or what's your background? And if you want to make it interactive, it's okay. Like, otherwise, I can just start with my.
Yes, I'm familiar with Kotlin. I've been using it for about 2 years. So,
Okay.
And then currently the team I'm on, they write all their Android app in Kotlin.
Okay, awesome. Awesome.
And no, I don't have any experience with it, but I'm sure there'll be a lot to learn.
Yeah, I hope so.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, so like Charles said, like Kotlin was initially developed for Android applications. And with JetBrains was one of our sponsors. JetBrains is the one who brought Kotlin in. So Kotlin was brought by JetBrains. And now Kotlin is being used for like multiple platforms. Like, when you write the code in Kotlin, you can deploy it in multiple ways. So initially, when you used to write, when Kotlin came in, it was only supporting Android apps. For iOS application, you were using Swift with Xcode as the Xcode as a tool to write the Swift language, right? But now what happens is when you want to build an app that you want to host on Android as well as iOS, you have some common logic built in, like common functionality that you might want to use. So with Kotlin multi-platform, what it does is some common functionality and some common code, you can write it in common logic in one class file or in one method. And then when you have some separate logic based on your Android and iOS, maybe like look and feel or some other view UI or some other gestures that you might want to introduce, you can write it in iOS or Android specific classes. For that, how it works, it works in hierarchical manner. Like, you can start with some base class wherein you would write your common functionality or common code, and then you can start inheriting from your language specific or app specific code. But this is just like with respect to Android and iOS. But then Kotlin can be used with like your desktop, with your web applications, even on cloud. Right? So that's the reason we call Kotlin as multi-platform. And like we see, like for Java, we say, right, write code once and use it anywhere. But it's similar for Kotlin, right? But then Kotlin is built on top of Java, wherein what you can do is you write your code in Kotlin, whether it is for web, whether it is for your mobile applications, you could write it for your desktop, you could write it for servers, you can write it for anything, and you could deploy it anywhere on your local, on your IDEs, and on your cloud. So today, I don't have any presentation, and my main motive was to walk you through a demo, like how can you use Kotlin with various things. Like first, and my main focus was with respect to GCP. So one of my demo is like how can you use a Spring-based application written in Kotlin to deploy to GCP using some of the GCP services. So if you don't mind, I can share my screen to start with the demo, and then we can start building it. So
Sounds great.
Yeah, I'll just share my screen. Share a window. Can you see my screen? Sorry. Can everyone hear me and see my screen? Sorry to ask. Okay, sure. So what we'll do today is like, this is the Google Cloud Console. I'm not familiar, like this is the Google Cloud Console. What I did is I just logged into the Google Cloud Console. This is the editor. I can show you. What I did was I just went ahead and I did activate the Cloud Shell. This is just, to run the commands from Google Cloud. I can use the UI or I could use the Cloud Shell. I'll be using both simultaneously when preferred, but currently I'm using the Cloud Shell for just to show you how can you use Cloud Shell as well as the dashboards. So when you come here, I just wanted to show, like, if you have some code, like if I go to my code repository and I click on the code editor, it gives you a look and feel of like an IDE. So what we are going to do today is I'm going to write a simple code in Kotlin language using Spring Boot, and then we are going to use SQL and Google Cloud PubSub and see like how Kotlin can be used with Spring Boot and how can it be deployed on cloud. So to start with, like what I'll do is I'll go back to the terminal. I'll create a directory called registrations. I go there, then I'll use few Google commands. I'm just authorizing it to use it to see like which project is I'm going to run on. I'm just listing the project here, and I'm just setting the project so that I don't have to again and again go back to the and set the project or go back to the directory. Then my next step would be like, because I want to use Google Cloud PubSub. So what I'll do is I'll enable those services using Google Cloud. So this is the command like gcloud services, and I'm trying to enable the PubSub API from Google for this project. So what it does is now I can use the PubSub API for my project. Then when I'm using the PubSub API, now I want to create a topic. So why I want to create a topic is because I would be trying to publish some messages over this topic. Basically, the registration info that I'm going to try will be submitted through this will be submitted and will be published through this topic. What happened? Oh, okay. So this already exists. So if I go here and say PubSub, you can see the topic is already existing here. And now I will create a subscription so that it receives the messages from the topic. Oh, it's again created. Sorry. Now, as I told, like to save those registration messages, I would be using MySQL service from Google Cloud. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to enable the Google MySQL service here, and I'm going to create an instance of MySQL. It should already be created. So just Excuse me if it gives me an error. Sorry about that. Okay, it is existing. And then I will create a new database called registrants inside the instance. Okay. Now what we'll do is I will welcome. I came up to the folder, and what I'll try to do is I don't know if you're familiar with Spring, but what happens is if you want to create a project with Spring, what you can do is you can go to Spring start.spring.io and you can just download a project which will just give you a very simple Hello World application. Okay, sorry, you're moderating the question. Sorry about that. So what it does is. Yeah, what it does is it builds a very simple Spring Boot application for you with Hello World. But when you try to create that, in case you want to use any services, right, you can start giving the dependencies. What I can do is maybe I can show you. If I go to start.spring.io, so this is a Spring initializer. And I can choose anything if I want Gradle or Maven, any one of the build tools. So I choose, suppose, Gradle. Then it gives me an option for 3 languages, Java, Kotlin, and Groovy. Since now we want to use Kotlin, I go and select Kotlin. And it gives me various Spring Boot versions. So I select the latest one, right? And I can give the group ID, artifact ID, the name for my application and everything. Packaging is depending upon excuse me, you want a jar or a war. And in case you want to use Java, which Java version do you want to use? And on the right side, you can see, you can add some dependencies here. When I click on add dependencies and I see GCP, so it gives me a support for GCP. So I can just go and click on it. And what it does is all the dependencies that I select will automatically be added to either your Maven or Gradle file, either your pom.xml or Gradle, depending upon what you choose. So if I want to use GCP storage, I can use this, but then it says it requires Spring Boot version greater. So we can select those, and if I say pubsub, and again, in respect to that, you can do anything, Spring Web Services, time leaf, if you want to add a time leaf to your application, Spring Security, you can choose anything. Use this one. It should be. Okay, so basically I need to add some basic dependencies of spring.start.io, and after that it will allow me to add GCP, but I don't want to waste time into this. Let's go and do the apps. So what I'll do is I'll show you the command that we could run. This is just going back here. Yeah, so what I did is I'm just calling the spring.start.io with the starter. I told it that I want language to be Kotlin. The Spring Boot version is 2.4, and the dependencies that I need for my application is web data integration, because I need to integrate Spring with GCP. That's the reason the integration one. Then I need GCP Cloud PubSub. I want to use it, and TimeLeaf, I just want to use it for a simple UI just to show. Okay, apart from that, then I'm telling go to the base directory, wherever I want to download the code, and then I'm trying to unzip the code, because whenever you try to download the code from spring.start.io, it is always in the zip format, and to use it, we need to unzip it. So it's
Sonali, can you zoom a little bit just in Chrome? Zoom maybe once or twice, and it'll be a little bit more legible.
Yeah, thank you.
That's good right there. Is that better, Svetlin? Yeah.
Okay, sure. So that's the only thing it did. So if I go to CD registrations, and if I go and click editor here, you can see I have a registration folder created. if you look at the POM, it has all the required dependencies like Spring Boot, starter framework, everything. Now, because I had said GCP, pops up, it has a dependency for that. It says I'm going to be using Kotlin. Apart from that, it says like, I'm going to be integrating it with JPA, my bad, and all the other plugins that it needs. And then it just generates a very simple code like, demo application. If you run this code, it will run with no errors or nothing. It's just a simple Kotlin-based Spring Boot application, which will run with build tool as Maven, even on your local. But now what I want to do is I want to run it on GCP. So how would you do that? So now what I do is first let's try and configure the database. So we need to add few dependencies here for database, which I didn't add it. So if I go to the pom.xml and I'll just paste the dependency for MySQL because I want to use it. I go back to the terminal. And please excuse me because I think the SQL instance that I'm going to try to create right now might have already been created. So no, so it got created. Okay. Now what I have to do is now I have to link this instance, the MySQL instance that I created, to my application. So how would you do that is I go back again to the editor. In resources, I go to the application.properties. And I copy this instance name that I just listed here. So what it does is, this is a SQL instance name that I just created. It is telling me the database that is created is registrants and all the other basic SQL properties that I need to set. Basically, if you want to, when you're trying to create EDL, you want to create drop or whatever you want to set, you can do it. If you want to set some username password, which is not a good practice, but yeah, in case you want to do it, we could set it here and just.
That's a good place to answer the question that came in on chat. It was, is this using Bigtable on the back, despite the SQL context? And so the sample app that Sonali is making here is not using Bigtable, right? Sonali, it's using Cloud SQL. And Cloud SQL is a distinct Google Cloud offering, and it can be deployed with PostgreSQL, MySQL, or Microsoft SQL Server flavors. Bigtable is a different product offering. It's a NoSQL database service, so it does still use the similar context, but like what Sonali is pointing out here, how you would log in and interact with that SQL database is a Postgres in this one, I think, right, Sonali?
Yes, this one is Postgres. Apart from that, like when you ask about Bigtable, and if you want to integrate Bigtable, you could certainly do that. You would just need to add the dependencies and some configurations based on Bigtable. But again, you can use the Bigtable instead of MySQL here, SQL here. Okay, so depending upon the services, I'm just trying to showcase like how you can integrate few services here. So anything, Bigtable, BigQuery, anything that you would want, you can just come and integrate.
Kind of interchangeable in there. And I misspoke. I said Postgres. It says right there in the code. It's MySQL.
MySQL. Yeah, sorry. And in this, what I'll do is, because I'm going to use TimeLeaf just for some short UI, I'll create an index.html. Sorry, I'm just copy pasting the code. I just wanted to show you how I'm doing it, and instead of walking through the code, so I'm just trying to paste it. So this is just a registration page that I'm trying to create, wherein I will just take some information from the registration, publish it to the queue using the cloud.Presenter, which is again a Google GCP offering for queues, and I'll just store those messages and the registration information in the database using MySQL. So we created this, and then I'll create one more file, new file. Registrants.html. I'll copy the code. and I'll save it. Now I'll go back to the terminal and I'll try to run this project. So as you can see here, I have a registration sample application created. So suppose if I try to do anything, so I get a white label error page because I haven't still done anything with those messages. When I click on submit button, there is no backend code written here. So that is the reason I get this error. So now we'll try to fix that. So what we will do is now we will send our registrations information that I'm trying to fill in here to the PubSub topic that I had created. So for that, what we'll do is we would need to add some code again. So I'll go back to the editor. Sample demo. Yeah, and here I'll create a new file. And all this. So if you see the extension is .kt, which is like because the code is being written in Kotlin. Repository. Create the controllers. I'm trying to go fast. Application.kt. What I'll try to do is I'll just try to use a function that will call the Jackson PubSub message converter, which will try to publish the message to the queue. If I'll stop the previous application and I'll again try to run. Another thing, meanwhile, this is running is, if you can see here, I'm in the PubSub Google service and the registrations topic has been created. And this is the subscription that I created for the same topic. So you can see it here. And are there any messages? No messages yet.
Sonali, there's a question in here around annotations. Which annotations are Kotlin versus Spring Boot specific? I don't know if that makes sense to answer like that, or if you want clarification.
Okay. Yeah, most of the annotations are specific to Spring Boot because, like, Bean tells us, like, you're trying to define a bean, which is like some kind of object value mapping. Then Spring Boot application is just to let you know, like, this is the starter class to run your Spring application. But most of it is like entity. Again, most of it is like, Spring annotations. Yeah, nothing is specific to Kotlin, but everything is just Spring annotations.
Did that answer your question, Stella?
No, I want more detail.
Okay.
Can you let me know, like, exactly what details?
Because there are other annotations which are just like for the JVM in Kotlin.
Mm-hmm.
And there are other annotations, and because everything is happening so quickly, I see some annotation, but I cannot read it. So, annotations, as we know, contain metadata, which affect the entire application. So, just make sure to, if there is something unusual in the annotations, just make sure to explain that one. Okay, that's it.
Okay. So I'll explain two main annotations which I think are important. This is entity. So I'm defining an entity because I want a table to be created with the name person. And that table would have following first name, last name as columns inside it. Apart from that, the ID would be the primary key and it would be automatically generated value. So that's the reason generated value. So these are few annotations here. And demo application, the Spring Boot application is this annotation is basically which tells your server that your application should start from this point. Basically, this is the start point of your application. So that is why this annotation. And rest is like pretty simple, so not much. Any other questions and the post mapping is, when you're trying to submit the form. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to persist some data. So that's the reason it's post mapping. And what request parameters are you taking? So first name, last name, email, whatever input I was providing. So this annotation tells you that any request parameters that you're trying to take. And get mapping is basically just to display all the information about the registrants. So,
Right. Thanks, Sonali. Let's do one. Let's register one now.
And I tried to click the registrants list. It did not show me the message because what happened is I just tried to save, but I did not write any code to read the registrants from the topic. So the registrant is persisted in the database. That's the reason it didn't give you any error. But then I'm not listening to the topic and trying to read that information. That would be the next step to do. But probably I might not be able to run it. The reason being last minute compilation issues, but let's try.
Wouldn't be a demo if there wasn't a harrowing moment here.
Yeah, sorry about that. But I still want to give it a try. I was trying to fix it till the last minute. But be lucky if this runs. For some reason, I don't know what the code is still the same, but I don't know, some reason it's giving me a compilation issue with unresolved reference for this Jackson PubSub message converter. But the code that I added, I just try to explain you so that at least I'm clear what I was trying to demo, because I am not able to run it. So what I was trying to do is, I was just trying to give it the input channel name, and I was trying to receive the messages and then display the payload, so that you could see the registration infos, like whatever information you submitted to the form, that form. So PubSub, that information via PubSub was submitted to the database, and then again I was trying to read it from the database using the PubSub from the subscriptions. So that is what I was trying to do, but for some reason I'm facing a compilation issue here, and I'm not able to showcase that. But if this would work, what you could do is, when I clicked on the registrants list, all the names or all the registration info that I try to submit would be listed here. So one of my main reason to showcase this demo was, you can write your backends in Kotlin, your front end in Android, iOS, or maybe like Timeleaf type of any other UI, maybe JavaScript or Node.js, right? But then in the backend, you can use Kotlin, and you can still try to integrate with any cloud services that you would want to. And just wanted to showcase how you could use Kotlin as a KMM, like multi-platform services. So any questions on this demo?
Is this the end of the presentation?
No, I just want to showcase one more presentation, but I'll not go through in detail. I'll just showcase the code because it's already 7. I've took 30 minutes. So what I'll do is I'll just walk you through what I was trying to do. It's just very cool demo which I want to show. So because it includes one of GCP services, which is like Vision AI. So how can you use it? So I just wanted to showcase that with your Android application. So that application would not be on cloud, but it would be on Android Studio using the GCP service with Kotlin.
Cool. Well, are there questions on this first part? The second part sounds really exciting, Sonali. I see an Android app like talking to something, an endpoint in the cloud. What you've walked us through so far is using some Kotlin code to host an app on GCP, and then how easy it can be to integrate many of the services. So we saw Cloud SQL, which, as we covered, is can be MySQL, Postgres, or even Microsoft SQL Server hosted on GCP for you. We talked a little bit about Bigtable, which is not used, and then using the messages through PubSub. That's the way that the registrations are going in. And then the part that didn't work so far was the picking up those PubSub messages and displaying back the reads out of that database. I think the concepts were there. From the other attendees, or from Michael or Charles, any questions or things you wanted to clarify on this? Is that exciting?
I can share the demo later on with you if you want to run it on your local, or you want to try it on your own. I could do that. Yeah. One more thing I wanted. Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead.
if I did have any questions, I think they would probably be far too elementary, but it's all making wonderful sense.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, if you still have questions which you would like to get answers and which are really basic, you can post it here. And if we cannot answer it right now via email later on, we'll just send you an answer or any references that might be helpful to you.
Great.
Sonali,
Charles,
please clean up your presentation and demo and put your name on the list of Google presenters, and you will be invited to many events.
that's great.
That's great. Yeah, I'm happy to do that because, to be honest, I'm learning a lot of new things. So it's good. I'm happy to be there.
Awesome. Charles actually put in a text chat here, and it's a bit of a question, maybe even a leading question, a little troubleshooting, right, Charles? Does the Maven file have all the dependency for Jackson? So that was the Jackson sub message converter.
It does have, and I tried a lot, but for some reason, I don't know. I think there could be some issue with, I don't know what's the issue. I'm trying to focus because till afternoon, around 4 o'clock, it was running fine. And suddenly my Mac restarted and the code is not running. So I'll check on that. But thanks, Charles, I've tried this.
Yeah, no worries. That's been my issue before with Jackson, is I'm missing a dependency. And then sometimes when I add it, everything works. So I just wanted to check.
Sure. Yeah, I did check that, but the dependency was there and it still doesn't work. So one more thing I just wanted to let you know is, like, when you write your Spring Boot applications in Kotlin, you can deploy your application with Google App Engine, which is very simple, like just with one command. And you could containerize your application using Docker. And again, you can use a Compute Engine or, GKE. And you can even run your applications built in Kotlin on Compute Engine. So basically, if you have your apps or any code that is built in Kotlin, like, you can run that code on various Google services that you might want to, based on the type of your application. Like if it's containerized, you could use containerized services from Google, or if you just want App Engine, you can just use App Engine. So just wanted to make that point as well. So before I make too late, I'll stop presenting and share again. Share a window. Oh, I'll have to share my whole screen, I think, because I need to show these.
For Android Studio, I think that'll probably be.
Yeah, just a minute. Yeah, for your entire screen.
On Sonali's last point, kind of around code portability and the various services, these types of demos often they could be written to target App Engine. Likewise, you could use Cloud Run or Kubernetes Engine to utilize that same code without minimal modifications. It's pretty uniform across all of those services.
Yeah, one of the demos I had, like I know we don't have that much of time, is like I in fact use the Google Cloud repository to store my code. I was pulling the code from there and was just running it using Cloud Run. It was Kotlin. It was so simple. But this is a very interesting demo which I would like to showcase. So what I've done here is like I have a simple code written in Kotlin, and what it does is like like on nowadays what we are trying to do is like if I want to buy like this kind of T-shirt, right? What I'll do is I'll put my camera on this T-shirt, I'll click the image, and then what it does is it should list all the similar kind of T-shirts available in the store, like something that sort of vision AI thing that I'm trying to do is like select something from your camera or from your gallery, and if something matching to that is available within the store, just list all those products. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build an app using Android Kotlin, and in the backend, what I'm doing is I'm using the Vision API product search from Google. So so what it does is basically it will just search for the products that visually appear to be similar. So I'll just, rather than wasting time, what I'll do is I'll go through can you see this? So because I don't have an Android phone, I'm just using an Android simulator. But suppose if I had an Android phone, what this app would do is you can click on the gallery, you can select one image from the gallery, and based on whatever image you select, it will show you the matching products available in this store. What I've done is I'm just using the Google's Vision API for product search, which will go and search in its repository or wherever the images are stored, all the similar images that I'm trying to select here. So for this image, what is it? Like I'm trying to select this, and I say search. If you see, what I can do is I can see all the matching images with this gown. What I was trying to do is like, you could in fact, like if there are 3 gowns in one picture, what you can do is you can select one gown, and based on that particular gown, I mean, you can go and select like the white dot that was showcased here. Sorry. The white dot was like, if I find something 3 different things in my image, I can select on one dot, and based on that selection, it will search the images in the backend. And this all is done automatically by Vision API. I just called few endpoints from the Google Vision API product search, and it's automatically done for me. So what I wanted to showcase here is like I'm using Kotlin for my app development, and in the backend, I'm using a Vision AI, which is like very trendy nowadays. Like, everybody wants to go and do this kind of cool stuff wherein like, I see something from like with my friend, like I see a cool handbag, she has it. Now I want to really go and find the same handbag. I don't know what it is. Where will I find it? I just click a picture, and based on that picture, I'll upload that image. And in the market, I just want to see like if something similar is available and if I can get the same handbag. So that's some idea which we are trying to do it in our day-to-day lives, like with many other things. I'm just taking a very cool example for copying my friend's handbag, but then it can be used in various good ways. So this is something I done with the account.
Look at the all cool things you can do with Kotlin.
Yes, all these cool things you can do with Kotlin. You just have to call the endpoints. You have to just use your specific APIs that you want to do for your backend. And all this is with the Kotlin. And I just want to bring this point as well, like TikTok, Netflix, Lyft, all these cool apps are built on Kotlin. Like all these apps which we use in our day-to-day lives are built on Kotlin. So yes, if you click on this image and I click this and I click on search, so it will list like all products matching the similar texture kind of thing. So like shoes with the similar texture, the dresses with the similar textures, whatever it can find. So it's not like 100% accurate, but at least 90-95% accurate results it will show. And you can go and choose what you want to do. So this is one of the demo that I wanted to show. Again, like Vision AI is again new for me, and I'm just trying all these things. I'm learning, but it's cool. Like, it was very cool building this demo. So any questions here? Like, we don't have time. Otherwise, I would have walked you through the code, or I can share the code again with you all. Like, I can create a Git repository and share that link. But apart from that, if you have any questions, like how I did it or any specific questions, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah, any thoughts or reactions on seeing that? Like Sonali said, not the time to walk through the full build of how we got there. A little bit of a cooking show, right? Look at this beautiful thing that we've made.
Yeah, so if you see like how I'm going is I'm going to my project, I'm going to the Vision API project ID, the location where that it is stored, and I'm just giving the product set ID. This is the endpoint that I'm trying to define, and it will go and bring those matching things. Like behind this, like I've just done some code to use this, but yeah. So Kotlin is like now really becoming really powerful. A lot of people are trying to use it on top of Java. So yeah, I am a Java savvy as well. Like I have worked only on Java throughout my life, and now Kotlin, like this was the first time I'm using it, but I'm loving it. Like it's pretty simple, it's pretty lightweight. Like Java is heavier, Kotlin is again very lightweight. And again, like you can build your desktop applications, your servers, your backend, your front end, everything.
Interactive shell as well.
Yes, interactive shell as well. Yeah.
Great. Trying out new things, seeing what you can experiment with. Whatever you thought is a great idea is actually bullshit. That's okay.
I initially I was thinking of building a very simple just app, but I thought I was trying to build something cool. So yeah, I don't know if
it's wonderful. What
yeah.
Was this just a demonstration, or was there an end goal for what you hoped that the project could turn out to be?
No, it was just for a demonstration purpose, and it was for my self-learning as well. Because the topic for today's webinar or our seminar was like, Kotlin on multiple platforms plus GCP. So I just wanted to showcase all those things rather than just focusing with Kotlin on Android. So that's the reason I showcase this, because I wanted to show like how you can use Kotlin with the backend, with the Android, with the Spring Boot, and again, how you can run it on cloud using various GCP services. So that was my intent to do this. Yeah. But again, if you use KMM, you use the SDK for KMM, you can build the same app for your Android and iOS as well. But like not duplicating so much of common logic in iOS, like Swift and then Java or Kotlin. I'm happy to showcase some more examples because I'll be going through a few more. I have on my list like 2 more demos to be working on. So I'm happy to share those on my GitHub, and I can share the links within a week, like with you all, so that you can go and try it yourself as well.
Cool.
Any questions?
It will definitely increase the number of your followers on GitHub. So go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
Lots of stars.
Lots of stars, yeah.
That's great. Yeah, no, thank you so much for the demo and presentation, Sonali, and to the participants for being interactive and asking questions. I think sometimes the seeing a bit of the exploration and the journey is actually more valuable than seeing a pristine, perfect, everything always works on the happy path, right? So that was valuable.
And a lesson learned, next time I'll keep something pre-recorded, so that when last minute the things fail, I have something to showcase. That's a lesson learned. Yeah.
You can fall back on the demo gods when they're taunting you. So talking about kind of sharing and interaction and learning from each other, that's very much the the intent with this group, the Google Developers Group, for and by our attendees here. So please, if you are seeing the recording or you're here live and you have something that you think is valuable, even if it's not a perfect polished demo, or maybe it is, maybe it's something that's all put together. That's very much what this forum is for. It's not necessarily intended to be just a one-way, show you all the cool things that Google can do. It's to meet each other and find out what each other is learning, and share resources. So to that end, I don't know, Charles or Michael or Svetlana, any kind of maybe pro tips to throw out there for each other, or your experience working with Kotlin or Kotlin with Google Cloud. Feel free to put them out there. Lots of people learning it.
Well, one pro tip that I have when it comes to like refactoring or doing demos is I code using the TDD approach. So that way, if something breaks, you can actually just go back to your test and figure out where it broke. And then the nice thing is with Kotlin, you can write your test in a sentence. So that also makes it a lot easier.
Yes. Yeah, I completely, Okay, good takeaway, I would love to know your experience on Kotlin, Charles and Michael. Like, why did you wanted to learn Kotlin? So, I would love to know those thoughts as well. Like, Charles is being experienced, and Michael really wants to learn Kotlin. So, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think I ever heard of this program until this evening. I'm going to have to explore and see what that's all about, but it seems very versatile and that it can do so many different things. So it'll be good. I'm very happy to learn about it.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah. What got me actually learning Kotlin was because of Android development. So one of my first jobs, they switched immediately over to Kotlin when Google announced that they were going into Kotlin. So I had to kind of get ramped up, but then I saw all the cool things you can do, especially like with coroutines. That had me like fall in love with the language and like really using it, because it is, as you said, lightweight, and it does a lot of the heavy lifting for you without the developers having to think too much or have to figure things out. And it's a lot cleaner.
Yes. It's very cleaner and very less code.
I was just wondering if I could ask here. I'll put my hand down. Charles mentioned that it's heavier. What does that mean to be, or that it's heavier or cleaner? I can't think of what. I was thinking of it like postage, maybe, where you have a heavier package or something, but that's probably not what you mean. So, or I don't know.
No, that's a good way to look at it. So by heavier, think of it. Are you familiar with Java?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So in Java, you can use what's called threads, and a lot of times threads are very expensive. Like they take up a lot of CPU and they take up a lot of power. So when someone is referring to Kotlin being lighter, it's lighter on the CPU and the processes that your computer's using. And then cleaner code means, think of it like an essay where you're asked to write a paragraph. With Kotlin, you can write, instead of you writing a full paragraph, you can write a couple sentences that gets your point across instead of you writing a whole story.
Yeah, perfectly. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That was very well said. Okay, very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. No problem.
I actually appreciate the postage analogy that you made, Michael, of thinking of something as heavy. If you print it out, if you print out those essays now, like we said, right, you need to apply more stamps for a very verbose, heavy package versus, if you can do something concise and has a lot of the built-ins there, it'd be lighter, less postage. Very good.
Good way to relate. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other comments on the Kotlin thread, or any other suggested resources and things that you found local or remote? There's so many opportunities to go and learn things and make these connections, and this is one of them. But I know there are many others out there. I think
Kotlin developers group in San Diego on Meetup.
Yes.
Right. Yep. That's what I was going to actually share here, and I'll paste the link in for don't get too distracted, but this will be in the notes as well. But this is the one, right? Spedlin is the San Diego Kotlin user group.
Yes.
And they do have a number of members, and they do some online events going on right now. So if this has piqued your interest, or I don't know, Charles.
The good thing is that the main organizer is actually running a academy, which is a non-profit organization, and because of that, he is somehow obliged to present every month. So even though they might not have been having any presenters, he has to present every month. So you are guaranteed to get a full satisfaction every month regarding Kotlin.
Like that. Good. Yeah. So that's another place where you could plug in and learn some additional Kotlin, and of course make connections with other great folks like we try to do here on the GDG. I can just transition this and tell you a little bit about some other areas that are adjacent and related to the topic tonight of Google Developer Group. Sonali, thank you very much for your presentation on Kotlin together with Google Cloud. We also are building a community called C2C, which the intention is customer to customer, and that's really what makes these types of events and platforms powerful, is the engagement that we've had here tonight. There is opportunity to through C2C Global continue this conversation online, and this is not necessarily specific to Kotlin, which was Sonali's topic, but it's actually much more broad than that. To get involved in, and you can see here there are different forums on C2C, all specific around Google Cloud technologies, and you can see they host a number of events online for the moment, and eventually we'll be going back to doing some in-person meetings as well. And they're not only around technologies; they're actually around a variety of topics that are pertinent for the Google Cloud community. So that's another area where if you're interested in exploring, I would invite you to take a look at C2C, and you can meet other like-minded folk like yourselves. There's also lounge areas in different groups, even into technologies like SAP or AI and ML, and that's all through C2C.
Where is the beef, Kyle? Where is the beef? What is the incentive for us to engage with all of this?
Well, we've talked a little bit about learning and access to each other, and so a big portion of that is here through reaching into that community. So, say for instance tonight you saw something in Sonali's demo that you really liked around Vision AI, and that's pertinent to your job or maybe some of your passion projects, and you wanted to dip in a little bit further and learn more about that. There's opportunity here to not only interact in a forum, but actually to attend some of these other learning type of events. So that's very much what this is about. As you can see, there's a lot of different content on here. So I'd encourage you to explore, and if you see something there that's of interest, join it and share alike. And that was pretty much what we had for the presentations tonight. I think, did we miss anything, Svetlin?
No, everything was so smooth and perfect. I'm disappointed. I am an abrasive guy. I just want to interrupt other people. There was no opportunity to do this tonight.
Well, we will try harder next time. Thank you for your participation this evening, to all of the attendees, and a very special thank you to Sonali for putting together the demonstration and for sharing with all of us.
Thanks, Kyle and Svetlin, for giving me this opportunity and doing this wonderful work. Thank you.
Great. I will stop the recording, and that will be posted eventually on the YouTube channel.